What does it take to build a healthcare business you could walk away from, but actually love so much you don't want to? On this episode of the Wellness Growth Show, I chat with Troy Parsons, founder of Optimise Health and a leader in private practice success. Troy shares how he went from podiatrist to business mentor, the systems he uses to reduce risk and empower his team, and why creating a world class clinic is about more than just profits. If you want real insights on building a practice that runs smoothly and keeps you inspired, this episode's for you. All right. Today we are sitting down with Troy Parsons, founder of Optimize Health and Hive Practice. Welcome, Troy.
Hey, buddy, how are you?
Excellent, excellent. Glad to have you here. Okay. We chatted before and you've described your journey from podiatrist to owner to relentless learner. When you reflect on Optimize Health today, what core belief or mission drives the business forward?
Probably the same mission that drives me, which is, to realize my potential. Years ago, I was at a workshop. I think it was a Tony Robbins business mastery event, and Keith Cunningham from Texas was speaking. And he said a thing that sent chills down my spine. It was, hell on earth is to meet the man I could have been. And I went, "Oh." And since then, it's just been this quest to continually improve myself as a person and realize my potential, and the same for the team I get to work with, and then ultimately with our patients as well. So that's what drives us.
All right. So you are creating a practice that you never want to sell and everyone wants to buy, right? So what would you say are those essential ingredients of building that kind of healthcare business?
Many. And I think this is the challenge. And that question, I think I want to give it some context. That statement some context first. Many times I've got close to selling or wanting to sell. And when I was in that position, I know many business owners are the same. It's usually because you're burnt out, you're broken, you're done, and you want out. And you hope that someone is going to take this off your hands and pay you a reasonable amount of money for it. And that is a really poor place to negotiate from. And so I thought I'd flip the question. Well, how can I create something I actually don't want to sell and people are going to want to buy? Because inherently, if I have something people want to buy, it's actually probably something I don't want to sell. And I think one of the key parts in healthcare practice, but in any business, is number one, you got to reduce that key person risk. You've got to scale yourself to zero. So if someone comes in to buy this business, it's not relying on you. If you have a business that's not relying on you, it's a true business. That's probably something you're quite happy to keep. You're going to need cash. You need cash and profit. Cash and profit can solve nearly any problem in a business. And so that allows you to pay people better, recruit the right team, invest in equipment and resources and advancement. I think you need to have leadership pathways where people can have growth on their journey. And you need to systemize the business as much as possible to make it as predictable as possible. And I think if you do all those things, you'd have something that you're quite happy to keep and people would be very interested in buying.
Love it. Love it. You had called out recruitment, retention, and leverage as major problems in healthcare. What's one broken system you think more clinic owners need to acknowledge or rethink?
Did you say one? Okay, if we're going to go with one, I think particularly in private practice, it's that traditional one-to-one model, one clinician to one patient. That's a really, really poor use of resources. If you look at other professions outside, private practice, you look at accounting, you look at lawyers, doctors and hospitals have been doing it for many years where they use nurses and assistants and they have leverage. I think physical therapists and osteopaths, chiropractors are better at it. Dentists are pretty good at it. I think orthodontists are amazing at it. But, in the private practice, we tend to see a lot of it's that one-to-one service delivery that it's a poor model.
How do you think owners should be preparing for the tidal wave of change that you had mentioned, like especially with AI and evolving patient expectations?
I think there's two parts to that. I think everyone has a responsibility to look to dive into AI and start using it and not be afraid of it because it's inevitable. Technology is undefeated. It's happening. So, you need to become a student of it. You need to have a team that's pro AI and looking at how they can actually look to utilize it as a super suit or an exoskeleton to enhance their abilities. Being smart isn't enough anymore. It's not a lack of knowledge that is holding people back. So I think business owners need to A, commit to developing their skills around AI, but B, really dial in investing in their human capital and the people to grow them, because that's what's going to become more valuable than anything in this tidal wave of change, as you described.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Definitely. It's like find out what tools can help your business, what can leverage your business, learn them and make some time, take the time. So you're invested deeply into mentorship, like Dan Martell, Tony Robbins, Alex Hormozi. Like what's one mindset shift or lesson from those rooms? And it doesn't have to be one, but what's one mindset shift or lesson from those rooms that you're actively applying?
I'm going to go with three. I
Okay.
don't have one. Number one, it's like a lot of things. It's simple, but it's not easy. And that's focus. And that really is identifying the one thing and committing all your resources to resolve that one thing. That one thing, which leads to me to my second point, would be looking at the theory of constraint. It's interesting, like, with the work that I've been doing with Alex Hormozi and also actually a training I did with Dan Martell literally this morning was looking at, if you look at in a business, we've got finite resources, people, time, equipment, funds, etc. And so we need to focus the resources we have well. And generally we want to focus it where there's the greatest upside. And where that greatest upside generally is where the main constraint is. And so the ability of a business owner a great CEO is to be able to see the whole chessboard and go, this is where the bottleneck or the constraint is. Commit the resources to resolving that constraint. And until it's complete, then moving to the next one. And I think, so first one, focus. Second one, where's the constraint? Third one, again, is I'm going to double down in investing in people. You build the people and the people build the business. I think, they're not just looking at the skills to do the job, but also pro-human skills, character skills. There's a book that I read recently, Scott, by Adam Grant, called Hidden Potential. Brilliant book. I think everyone should read this book. And in this, he talks about a study in North Africa of different business groups. And one group had no intervention. Second group had business training, marketing, sales, systems, finance, etc. Final group had character skills training. And that was around, discipline, resourcefulness, resilience, etc. Anyway, they tracked those businesses 3 years later. The one with no intervention had no change, surprisingly. The one that had business training had like an 8 to 9% uplift. The one that had the character skills training had a 38% uplift.
Whoa.
That is, whether you're talking Robbins, Hormozi, Martell, or any of the business gurus, it's consistent. Invest in your people. And so that would be the three things I'm really doubling down on in my own business.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. You've said that your goal is to keep leveling up. Like, what are you chasing next? Like, not financially, but in terms of impact.
Well, I'll circle back to, the mission, realize my potential. I think we're all here to serve. And, like if I use the business, the healthcare practice as an example, like, the business can't outgrow me. For us to be better, I need to be better. And that was really, I'm over here for 3 months with a pure focus to free myself from the day to day of the responsibilities I had, which was across the businesses quite a lot, to really invest in me and surround myself with gurus to go to the next level. And so I've kind of got this ideal that we're all here to shine our light and shine our light so brightly that it binds people and hopefully then inspires them to do the same. And so that's what it's all about, in my opinion. I think if you can do that, I think the world will be a pretty good place.
Couldn't agree more. Thank you for saying that. What would it look like to build a practice that becomes magnetic, not just for patients, but for clinicians, partners, and even potential buyers?
Look, I think, again, to circle back to the top around, you need the leadership, you need reduce key person risk, cash, etc. But I really believe, again, it's investing in the people. I think you build the people, you build the business. If you can create an environment where people are growing and developing day to day, that they're continually looking at how they can shine their light brighter, that'll be magnetic to anyone and everyone. Things we've talked about before is like, recruitment and retention can be challenging in healthcare. But again, I think if you create a culture of growth, create a culture of, there's progression and there's abilities to express themselves and have a degree of autonomy. I think, that would be truly magnetic to anyone, whether it be at a patient level, whether it be at a practitioner level, but also the community and also any investors.
Just surrounded, like everyone is seeing it and everybody wants to be there.
Like, but you know this, like you've been in places that have been the opposite of the antithesis of that. And it's just toxic. Like it's
Yeah.
there's a negative charge around it. Then you've been to these other places going, this thing has an energy and a vibe that it just takes off. And I think that is what's possible. And again, look, you brought up AI earlier. I think that's going to help us enable that to do that more and more. Anything that's predictable and automated, we can just get the robots to do that. But that human connection piece, because what computers find hard, robots find hard, we find easy. What we find easy, they find hard. And so what it means to be human is to be more valuable than ever. And so I think businesses have a responsibility to double down on that.
But you had mentioned integrating AI across like the patient journey. Where do you see perhaps the highest leverage place to start with a typical practice?
Again, look, I'll come back to that theory of constraint. I think if you look at a healthcare practice in particular, where's your greatest allocation of resource? It's in the healthcare professional. So you have at least probably 40% of your expenses locked up in those individuals. So it's creating leverage for them. And so first and foremost, you'll use an AI platform that can record the notes, do the letters, help, prepare any scripts, prepare any pathology, prepare any x-rays as you're actually going through the consult. And so I think that would be the number one place you would start, and then you would cascade down from there. But I think the place for AI is on every part of the process, from the marketing and patient acquisition all the way through that journey to looking after them post consult as well.
Even like in terms, I hear that clinicians and what that get bogged down by like the admin and stuff, and being able to like improve just with the note taking and just having good systems there. It sounds like that would be a massive help of whether you're somehow recording it or being able to put your notes up quickly and put them into a template or something that serves. Um,
Yeah,
do you guys use anything like that?
yeah, we are. That was probably and the thing, like, we're all using AI now without even realizing it. It's embedded
Yeah.
everywhere, but we
Right.
actually use a platform for our notes and our letters, and it's a game changer. We've taken another level now where you can actually use the transcription, obviously take out any personal details. You can upload that to a AI platform and get feedback on how you could have got a better outcome for that patient in that consult. Where's some more research that I might have missed, and continually raise the bar. Because then this is when I talk to my guys and girls and also the people that I coach. How else do you get better other than just doing the same thing repeatedly and hopefully getting some feedback from patients, maybe doing some extra study, do some sessions with team, etc. But to be able to get that direct feedback and going, well, in that consult, this is how you could have communicated this better. Here's some research you could have accessed. Here's another treatment pathway you could have considered. Or to be able to see 20 people a day and get 20 bits of objective feedback, that's a powerful thing.
That's gold. It's like I haven't heard anyone speak of that in terms of the consults. Like how if somebody wanted to do that in their own business to start that today, like what would you recommend maybe using?
Easy. Well, you can just, first of all, ask patients' consent.
Yeah.
And, but, you've got a recorder on your phone. You've got,
Okay.
we use there's a
Transcriber. Okay.
Claude AI recorder. I use that all the time. And we
Okay.
use this. And again, I saw my practice, saw my managing director the other day, and we've got her an executive assistant to help create leverage for her. And said I was taking time to explain a lot of these one-off things. And I said, record it, get the transcript through Otter or Rev, upload it to chat, give it context. I'll act as a systems expert for a healthcare practice. Now, see the transcription, create an SOP. And she went, oh my gosh. I said, record everything. It's
Yeah.
never been easier. So,
Uh, Yeah, and it's such a great tool for like even, thinking about trainings for future, team members and or if anybody is challenged on it or had a challenge on something and you've got topics to potentially go over. I mean, there's so much value in that. Okay.
It's
Whew.
absolutely huge. Like
Yeah.
I use it with my coaching clients. Again, we'll download the transcription, use an AI, give feedback, consolidate the notes, blend that through the other trainings that we've done, and they get this amazing plan from the other side. When I run one-on-ones with my team, I'll grab that transcription, run it through, and they get this document coming back going, oh, this is what we talked about. Here's the content, here's the context, here's the actions.
Right.
And it's really impactful. So it just helps.
Ah, right.
Again, I can ask for feedback on how I could have run that one-on-one better. So it's a cool thing.
Yeah, I'm so glad that came up. So, if a founder came to you saying that they're stuck making less money at 2 million versus when they were making, say, half a million, what would be your first diagnostic question?
Been there, by the way. My first diagnostic question would be, show me your dashboard. And I ask that because I guarantee they probably don't have one.
They don't have one to start with. Okay.
Numbers don't lie. And this is the thing, like with these businesses, like when they're smaller, numbers, you can run on gut, you can run on hunch, but as things get better and you've got bigger, you've got more moving pieces, having timely, accurate numbers is imperative. Because if you can't read the scoreboard, you can't tell who's winning or losing, as Warren Buffett would say.
Let's say someone's listening who sees your mom something similar. Like where should they begin?
Number one, get a coach. Just, I wish I'd done that from the start. Mind you, coaching wasn't prevalent when I started, but it's just an investment in, you're buying speed. You're buying someone else's mistakes that you don't have to make. And so anyone in business, like business is hard. Like it's simple things, but and when it's hard, it's often the mental game. And the thing with a lot of things with business is you can do small things, but you're not sure exactly what's going to work. So you end up doing many things. And then what happens is things aren't happening quick enough. So we'll do something else. We think, oh, maybe if I do this, I'll get that outcome quicker. When realistically, you might have been a few steps away from actually realizing the goal. That's why everyone should have a coach. You need to have someone who's played the game before, can see the board from a different view or aspect to you. So
Yeah, they've go ahead.
that'd be the first thing. Second thing, if you're on social media, train the algorithm to help feed you around things you want. Stop following cat videos or whatever else people look at, but start following guys like Alex Hormozi and Dan Martell and business like Stephen Bartlett from the Diary of a CEO, Chris Willocks. Just people who can actually start to give you insights around business and help you start to ask better quality questions. And then read the book called The Goal, which is all about the theory of constraint. Yeah, I think it's Eli Goldratt. It's a brilliant book, which again, like if you want a business, if you're going to commit your resources to the greatest constraint, I think you're in a really good place.
Okay. So you've learned through scaling like what not to do. If you could go back, well, I think you kind of answered this having a coach. Maybe if there's something else, but if you could go back even to your fourth year or self, like just after buying that first clinic, what would you say?
Well, basically, I'd say yes, you would get a coach. And what the coach would get you to do straight away is, first of all, get clarity around your numbers. And that's having someone, doing the bookkeeping for you, having dashboards created so you can see and have optics on all aspects of the business. Once you've got those optics, that will then help you direct your attention to where you need to focus and where that constraint could be. So that's where I would start. I would also highlight that you really need to invest in training to upskill yourself as a leader and as a leader of humans. So understanding and building out your communication skills, building out, what does it look like to create a culture? Those things that we're certainly not taught at uni when we're going through as a health professional, and let alone what a lot of people think about when they start a business.
Okay. Well, this has been very insightful. Really, really appreciate this. How can people connect with you?
Easiest way, have a look at that Instagram. Troy A. Parsons is my handle, and posting there all the time, and that'll have the links to the various businesses. But yeah, I'd love to hear from anyone, and creating content pretty readily now. If we've got any feedback or things that we should be paying more attention to, we'd love to hear about it.
Excellent. All right. Thank you so much, Troy.
Thanks, Scott. Great to speak with you.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of The Wellness Growth Show. If today's conversation sparks something for you, hit subscribe so you don't miss the stories, strategies, and insights from the front lines of wellness innovation. If you're a founder, operator, or health leader exploring growth into institutional markets and have a story worth telling, I'd love to hear from you. Reach out directly on LinkedIn or YouTube. And if you found this valuable, share it with a peer or post it online. You never know who needs to hear it. Until next time, stay well, keep moving, and keep building what matters.